Join me as we go to a galaxy far, far away. Yes, hi there and welcome to Jay's Toy Collection UK. And as you can see behind me, today is the day. It is the Star Wars Black Series Collection Core 2025. Before we get into that, if you could leave your thoughts in the comments below, subscribe if you're new to the channel, of course, hit that like button. Why not? Join a channel membership. We've got hashtag flip open the flap, or we've got the wedding fun for behind the scenes footage. Now, if you've seen the previous video on the channel, literally uploaded a couple of days ago, I was putting these new units in behind me here in the office or the live stream area. But it's now all finished, and it is all about Star Wars. We've got my full collection of Black Series, original trilogy, Clone Wars prequel era, and kind of assorted what is left. But I think it looks okay. I think I've done quite well here. New lighting in, so we've got some nice lighting. So here we go. I'm quite excited for this. So join me as we look at Star Wars. So let's kick it off where it all began, with the original trilogy. So there is the Jay's Toy Collection logo. You'll see on the live stream that was from the 3D printing crew.co.uk. So do check them out. You've got some 3D printed signs because they are pretty cool. And then we have the original posters then. So we're in the sort of maxi size. So we have the New Hope poster across to the Empire Strikes Back. And then with my personal favourite of all the Star Wars films, Return of the Jedi. So the figures are all the way along the top shelves then of the new sort of spread out units. So again, you can go back and check out how we built these units in the literally the previous video on the channel. So I've tried to theme it in order. So Obi-Wan is talking to Princess Leia. Help me, Obi-Wan, you are my only hope. And she is talking to him behind the Falcon. Now I can really get behind there. We have the 3 3/4 inch sort of Luke's hut. So Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, their hut is hidden behind there. That's sort of a little Easter egg, because as you will see through the collection, I do like to mix in the 3 3/4 inch scale vehicles with the 6-inch Black Series figures. So what do we have for A New Hope? We have the exception to the rule. I have the one 6-inch scale vehicle here is Luke's Land Speeder. Now I am waiting for some new figures to come. We've just had the new version of Luke in Leia in their original New Hope outfits. They'll be on an upcoming action figure haul video probably on the channel, because I've got about 20 Black Series figures to add in to the collection. So I've done the Cantina band at the back. Haven't quite found all their instruments yet, so some of them with their little ballsack heads are missing their instruments, and my take on the Cantina at the back. So we do need the actual barman, because I do not have the barman there, because they haven't made him yet in the Black Series. So definitely some big gaps in the Cantina scene in the Black Series for A New Hope. Definitely some more aliens there. Hammerhead is also, I think, in that haul bundle. The Dewback is now on a shelf riser at the back, so the Sand Trooper is on the top there. And then we have the TIE Fighter, the 3 3/4 inch TIE Fighter. I did get the Black Series 6-inch version for the Disney sort of version, but yeah, it's massive, far too big. So we got the 3 3/4 inch version there. And then Darth Vader is sort of in the corridor from Tantive 4, but that is one of the centerpieces, I think they called them there, from the sort of statue things that were in scale with the Black Series. So he's in there as well, and he's the stormtroopers have shot down some of the rebels there, some of the rebel fleet troopers in a bit of trouble. So that will do it for A New Hope at the moment. So we head from 1977 and we head over to 1980 then, and to the most critically acclaimed of all the Star Wars films, we head over to The Empire Strikes Back. So we do have the 3 3/4 inch scale 8080. Technically it's the muddy version that should go on Endor, but the version with the snow on is far too expensive. So hopefully they will do that version too in an upgrade, and I can actually have both then effectively. But Luke is there sort of dangling from the 8080. The probe droid is in the back. You can see the Empire Strikes Back poster. Gives quite a nice backdrop in this area, and Han on Tauntaun at the back there. Again, the centerpiece is the snow from the centerpiece line. So the snow with the light up base is in there. Luke has just been attacked, chopped to the arm off there of the Wampa. So he's in a bit of trouble there at the front. And again, we've got the rebels, and then we've got the snow troopers. Got a couple of snow troopers. Don't go too heavy on the army building in Star Wars, but definitely further than I go in Marvel and other lines. Got quite a few stormtroopers and quite a few clones when we get to the prequels little display here. So there is Luke and Vader in front of Han in Carbonite. Still got my figure of Han Carbonite from childhood, actually, so that one has survived. And then the bounty hunter scene is represented at the back there, behind the slave one for Boba Fett dangling off the side. So basically, Battle of Hoth, and then the stuff that happens within a Cloud City, etc., is what's happening over there for the Empire Strikes Back shelf. As I say, for my favourite film, but the most awkward shelf to film, because I've got to sort of lean over the bed where this is there. So the version of Return of the Jedi Boba Fett is dangling off the slave one. And I've tried to do sort of the main scene. So the stuff in Jabba's palace is at the front here. So Jabba, the Gamorrean guard, Luke in sort of Bouche Leia, but the upgraded version, I think, from the archive set, with the much better photo reel on her. And the Emperor is over in his throne with some of the guards at the back. And we have sort of scenes of Vader versus the Emperor at the very end of the sort of climactic scene of the film. We try to do what we can there. And then the ATSD again from the vintage collection 3 3/4 line. And then I suppose technically those are the 6-inch speeder bikes. So we've got a couple of speeder bikes there, one with the Ewok on, and then one with the actual Scout Trooper. And there's Luke, Han, and Leia in their Endor outfits. I think Endor is probably my favourite of all the scenes in all of Star Wars. I seem to have Endor in a Hot Toys, in Lego. I've got it in 3 3/4 inch and here in the Black Series. So I used to effectively run around my back garden, to be honest with you, pretending I was Luke and Vader having a fight with fake lightsabers as a kid. So get your childhood Star Wars memories, if you will, in the comments section of this video, where you, just like me, pretending you were in Star Wars. So that is the original trilogy then. So to summarise, we've got the 3 films across the top 3 shelves there, here, as we're in the office. We'll quickly take you through the wall. So it's just a few of the retro cards. So we've got the Power of the Force retro cards, which are the figures that I grew up with, of course, in the Black Series styling. My X-Wing is flying off the shelf there, off the wall, I should say. And then we have one of each of the original 3 films represented. So George Lucas as the Stormtrooper, Han Carbonite, and Vader. And then the Mandalorian sort of retro card behind there. And then the Episode 1 card. And some of the stuff from the Clone Wars. We do need a Commander Cody and a Revenge of the Sith retro card to help on the wall. So we've done the original trilogy. There's only one place to go now then. The prequels. Now, I didn't like all of them as they came out at the time. But as I've got older, I've grown to really appreciate the prequels. And now they're one of my absolute favourite eras of Star Wars, to be honest. I really do enjoy the 3 prequel films, and I'm still making my way through the Clone Wars animated series. So we'll start with the film that's least represented, really, because they haven't made a lot of the figures yet, is actually Episode 1 of Phantom Menace. So I was just 12 years old when this came out. I've still got my original VHS copy of the Phantom Menace is still here. So there is Darth Maul on his sort of little speeder bike thing, whatever he calls it, as he floats around there. Droidekas at the back, and then we've got Padme and Anakin. We waited so long to get a little child Anakin in the line, so very excited to have him. And then we have Jar Jar, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul, and Qui-Gon having a battle at the back. Now the vehicle of choice I've gone for here is, of course, the Republic gunship. So one of the most iconic vehicles, I think, from the prequels. Imagine a Black Series version of this. Be absolutely massive, wouldn't it? So the 3 3/4 inch version literally takes up half of the shelf. And then behind it, I've gone kind of Clone Wars, more sort of animated style Clone Wars, the best I could. And you may see the newest Clone Trooper. There is a duck. So do head over to Dan Who Reviews here on YouTube and his bi-weekly Legends and Liquor streams and the duck race to find out why there is a Clone Trooper duck in the display. But he has taken the internet by storm. So hashtag Clone Trooper duck. At the back there, lots of the 501st, I think, and just starting the 332nd as well. So there are more figures to come for this section, but it is quite colourful. I do like sort of Padawan Ahsoka as one of my favourite figures here. She was a pickup from MCM, I think, actually, last year. So that is the first shelf of 3 shelves that are dedicated to the prequel era. So shelf number 2 of the prequel era has the biggest vehicle I think you could possibly imagine in 3 3/4 inch scale. This is the AT-TE. They've actually put a clone trooper on the top there as well. So that is a 3 3/4 inch scale AT-TE, a classic eBay pickup, at least 20 years old that thing is. And then more colourful clone troopers on this side, so the Coruscant Guard in red at the back there as well. And we've got Anakin and of course the Chancellor at the front. So I want a proper version of Chancellor Palpatine. So if anybody from the Star Wars team at Hasbro is listening, please can we have a Chancellor Palpatine? I'd also like one as he sort of transforms and kills Mace Windu. That would be fantastic. And we also need an updated Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan. Now, I said I wasn't a massive fan of the prequels growing up, but the one film I did like was Revenge of the Sith. I had a fantastic time at cinema watching that when you finally could see Anakin turn into Vader. Waited many a year to see that. So I do like these figures. Plenty of room for more then on that shelf. And on to maybe my favourite shelf, the piece de resistance, you could say, of the collection is the Battle of Geonosis from Attack of the Clones. So this is the playset from Attack of the Clones from when the film was released. This was another eBay purchase. Picked it up mint in box for less than £100. So I was pretty impressed with that. And it literally fits, as you can see, millimetres by absolute millimetres in the IKEA Kallax cube that we are using. And as I said, if you want to see how I got this double wide, do go check out that previous video on the channel of building this new Star Wars display. So mainly Attack of the Clones and Geonosis here. So we've got the sort of more brown versions of the battle droids. We've got the super battle droid there. We've got the one I've literally just opened today, the new Yoda with his little chair as well. That's a fantastic little figure. So I do enjoy that. Anakin and Count Dooku over in the corner. Jango Fett's chilling at the back there. Padme is up on top, watching over what's going on. So that is my display, as I say, for the Battle of Geonosis. I think it's called a Reek, is it? The other little sort of rhinoceros thing. Picked that up at Toy Fair for £4. That was a £4 Toy Fair pickup, so that helps to set the scene, I think, again, as you say, just using these old pieces as sort of backdrops within the collection. So that is the 3 shelves that represent the Clone Wars, but there is still 2 more Star Wars shelves to come. And this shelf then, we are calling this sort of the Disney Plus era, is kind of what I call this shelf. Now, not everything has been a hit on Disney Plus, but I've been a massive fan of The Mandalorian. I really quite liked Ahsoka, to be honest, and we've just started to watch The Skeleton Crew, and Cheeky Monkey Yara, quite the fan of Neil and the Skeleton Crew, so look out for those coming in the collection in the future. I haven't purchased them yet, but I'm sure I will. So the N1 Starfighter is at the back. It's on a Mayfec stand, just trying to fly through the display, and you can see the Scout Trooper and Grogu dangling from the shelf there to give it a bit of depth. Over here then we have the Ahsoka show represented with all the figures I went for from Ahsoka. Again, there's a few missing. Grand Admiral Thrawn hasn't been unboxed yet, and nor is sort of Ahsoka the White, so they are still to come and room front and centre. Lots of Mandalorian sort of season 1 we're going for at the back of the display there. Then into sort of season 2 with Luke and of course the big old troopers, which names I completely forgot what they're called, but they're at the back. The old what they call Death Troopers. Somebody have in the comments what the big troopers called in Mandalorian season 2. Forgot as I film the segment. I do like the yellow trooper there, which of course comes with a sort of grenade launcher. You've got the incinerator trooper, so some kind of cool colours adding into the flair of the original Stormtrooper design, and then stuff from the Book of Boba Fett, and again from the Mandalorian there. I do like that new version of Cad Bane at the front of the shelves. Black Chrysanthemum's looking pretty cool, at least that version of the figure. And then there's room at the front for the Grievous Ringwald, is it? Mandalorian. I think he'll be coming up in a future video. So there is definitely loads more figures I can add to this display. So I've managed to, by changing these shelves over and making them double wide, give myself much more room to display. And if you watch any of the This Week in Toys live stream, you should, if you don't, check the live streams out on the channel. You will see this display behind me, hopefully in all its glory. From at least there up, you'll see this is kind of your view you would get from the live stream if I give you a funny sort of underneath angle. But there is one more shelf to go. It's sort of a mix of everything that was left over. I'm really not sure how I'm going to film this one, but I'll try and do what I can. So it's literally everything that was left over there in the cube under the bed. So we got the Rogue One figures in the corner, going into Andor as well. And Star Wars Rebels are at the back. We've got the Bad Batch themselves front and centre. I don't know if I can get the camera around that angle there particularly, but we got the only stuff I kept from the sort of Disney sequel era. I only kept about 7 or 8 figures. Not my favourite era of Star Wars. And then we've got the comic book stuff there. And then at the front we've got the sort of prototype, sort of a concept art design of Darth Vader. And this is the shelf where I think we'll be putting the Skeleton Crew will go front and centre when I get them. But that is the awkward shelf of mixed what's ever left over. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed, but that is the Star Wars Black Series Collection Tour 2025, a display that has been finished for about 20 minutes. So I've literally got the camera straight on and finishing it. So that is just sort of overview of the top shelves there. The overflow shelf we just seen is in the corner, and then we've got 4 shelves down below, double wide shelves then of the prequel items as well from the Black Series. So that is my Black Series collection. I thought I'd try and give it a bit more love, a bit more attention here in 2025. I've definitely got to backtrack a load more figures that, as I say, hopefully are in a nice box downstairs. So that will be a future video when we'll look at those. But that is it. So that is my Star Wars Black Series collection tour. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And, well, what's left to say? May the Force be with you. And I'll see you on the next video.